I tried not to say too much about the movie so that you might be interested. Like, you won't just know everything that happened in the movie. So what else is there for you to watch? Hello there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ruth Isaac. I hope you're doing okay. So today I'll be sharing my best Netflix movie recommendation. So this is going to be like the part one. Without further ado, let's just jump right into the video. Who else is excited? I'm excited. Alright, so I categorized them into 4 different categories: suspense, dystopian, action, and comedy. So let's just jump right into the video. First section I want to start off with is dystopian movies. So it's basically when a society suffers a lot. So the first movie is What Happened to Monday. This is one of the best movies I've watched on Netflix. Like, it's about a government where they're limited to have just 1 child per family, and this family has 7, right? And one day the sister named Monday goes missing, and then the rest of the siblings has to go look for her, and they have to be very careful because the government has a law that you must have just 1, and they mustn't know that they are up to 7. So each named Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll definitely give this movie a 10 over 10. It's like one of my favorite movies. The second movie is Bedbugs. So this movie it's basically a society committing suicide by seeing a light or something. So everyone has to, like, you just don't have to see the light, because if you see the light you're just gonna try to kill yourself, right? So there's a survivor and with her 2 children, and they have to make it out of the city, but they have to do that blindfolded. So I won't say much. I'll probably give this movie a 9 over 10. So the next movie, The Silence. This movie is about a family trying to go out of town for safety. So the road is being attacked by dangerous creatures that comes at you when you try to make any sound. So when you try to cough, when you're walking on the road and they hear it, they attack. So the family is trying to go out of town because they feel like it could be safer. They come across a mysterious creature which makes things a bit more harder. So try to check this out, and I'll give this movie a 9 over 10. Alright, so the second section is comedy. The first one I have to start off with is The Wrong Message. This is super funny. This is basically about a guy first going on a blind date with this crazy lady, and then he eventually had to go on a trip to Hawaii, and then while he was at the airport he ran into a woman of his dreams, like the woman of his dreams, and then he texted her asking if she would like to come with him to Hawaii, but he ends up texting the wrong girl. He texts the lady that he went on a blind date with, which was a really crazy lady, so he texted that one instead of the woman of his dreams. So it's a really crazy funny movie. I would definitely give this movie a 10 out of 10. The Week Of. This movie is basically about a couple trying to get married, and the bride's dad has a hotel which her husband's family are supposed to stay at, but there is nothing really working at the hotel, and they all stay underneath one roof, and there is problem after problem, and the wedding also gets really crazy and kind of destroyed. But this movie has Adam Sandler in it, and any movie that Adam Sandler is in is pretty funny, so I'll give this movie a 9 over 10. Mother Mystery. So this movie again has Adam Sandler in it. So him and his wife are long overdue for a honeymoon, and they finally go on a honeymoon, but on the airplane he falls asleep and she goes over to the first class and meets this guy, and he invites both of them to his really big yacht that has a whole bunch of famous people. So eventually this guy dies that has all of the money that everybody wants to inherit, and they get blamed for it. So they try to prove their innocence throughout the whole movie, and it was really funny and crazy. I'll definitely give this movie a 10 out of 10. Next movie is Sextuplets. This movie is about a guy that is about to become a father, and he's always wondered where his family was, if he had any siblings, and eventually he found out that his mother gave birth to 6 siblings at the same time. So he sets off on an adventure to find all of his siblings, each and every one of them. So I'll rate this movie an 8 over 10. Game Over Man. It's about three regular hotel housekeepers. Although they're not the best housekeepers, but they tried to save the day. So they are terrorists that came to the hotel. They trapped a whole bunch of hostages and they locked down the hotel. Nobody can go in and nobody can get out. And it's up to these three regular hotel housekeepers to save the day. It was really a funny movie. I would give it a 10 out of 10. You should check it out. Next movie is Coffee and Kareem. So Kareem is tired of seeing this cop with his mother. The cop is actually dating his mom. So he goes out to this group of guys to, tell them that he wants to get rid of him, which is the cop. And a guy ends up killing another guy in that group. So since Kareem saw that, they had to make sure that there was no evidence left behind. So they almost tried to kill Kareem too, but Coffee, who is the cop that is dating his mom, was there to save Kareem. But they're getting chased by this group of guys because they know what they did. So it's a really crazy movie. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. So you should check it out. It's nice. Next movie, True Memoirs of an International Assassin. So this guy goes and publishes a story of an assassin, of what he did back in the days with so much crazy gruesome details. But in reality, this assassin wasn't really him, and his publisher made the story a non-fictional novel. And so everybody thinks that he is the assassin, and eventually he gets into big trouble and a whole bunch of people are coming after him and he gets kidnapped. I'm gonna stop there. So I'll give this movie a 9 out of 10. Next movie, Due Date. This movie is about a guy who is about to have a baby, but he's all the way across the US for work, and eventually he ends up flying back home, but he ends up on a no-fly list. So he gets kicked off the airplane and he ends up on that no-fly list. He doesn't even have his wallet, so he gets stuck because of the guy that was staying behind him, causing all the trouble. And the same guy that got him kicked out of the airplane, he has to travel with him all the way back. It's a really frustrating movie, but it's really interesting. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Next section, suspenseful. So the first movie I want to start off with is Secret Obsession. This movie is about a girl who gets into a car accident, and then when she wakes up in the hospital, she can't remember anything. She can't even remember who her husband is, but her husband is right there by her side trying to tell her that everything is going to be okay, you're going to be fine. And eventually they go home and her memory starts to come back to her. She's looking through pictures and she's realizing that her husband, that's the man who is with her, isn't really her husband, and that's just the guy who is really obsessed with her, that would do anything to make sure that she loves him. So it's a really interesting movie. I'll give this movie a 10 out of 10. Next movie, The Gift. This movie has such a crazy ending to it. It's about a couple who is now located in California. They just moved to California, and the husband ran into an old classmate, and this old classmate, he really used to bully back then. And so the guy that did get bullied by him held a really strong grudge, and so he seemed nice and super friendly at first, but little did they know that he was doing a lot of bad stuff behind the back. So it has such a crazy ending. You, like I said, you definitely have to watch this one. I would give it a 10 out of 10. Next movie, Fracture. This one has a crazy ending to it. So this movie is basically about this guy who is going on a family road trip, but along the way his family had an accident and they all went to the hospital, and he waited for his wife and daughter to get out, but he woke up a couple of hours later and his wife and daughter were still not there. So he went searching around the hospital and began to think that they just got rid of his family. So he went crazy and is trying to uncover whatever the hospital is trying to hide. But it has such a crazy ending. You're gonna have to watch this one too. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Next movie, Dangerous Lies. So this is about a woman who takes care of this man who is really elderly, but he has a very big house and has no family whatsoever, and he has a lot of prized possessions in his home. So he suddenly just passed away out of the blues, and she wasn't sure exactly what happened, and of course she got questioned by the police, and that led to a whole bunch of events after they found out that she now owns the house. So after she got the house, there's a whole bunch of crazy events and people coming after her and her husband, and it's a really crazy movie. I'd give this movie a 9 out of 10. The Foreigner. So this father loses his daughter while taking her for dress shopping. Unfortunately, there was a bombing that killed his daughter and a whole bunch of women, and he got really sad as to why the terrorists did what they did. So he went after the people who were high up in the government, trying to figure out who were the people that bombed the store and why they did that. But he goes beyond measures to find out who these people were and to get justice for his daughter. So it's a really interesting movie. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Next movie, A Fall from Grace. When this movie first came out, it was all over the place. It has a crazy ending. It's about a woman who gets framed basically for the murder of her new husband. So a lawyer who was very young and hasn't really gotten any experience, she decides that Grace is not the murderer, that she's innocent. But she sets out on this journey to prove her innocence and uncovers a lot of disturbing truth. So this movie is really crazy. I'll give it a 10 out of 10. You should check it out. You should also check out my review on this movie, okay? Next section, action. The first movie is Message from the King. This movie is about a brother going on a journey from Africa to California to find his sister who called him for help. They haven't spoken in a really long time or seen in a really long time, but he knew that since she called that she needs help, then she really needed it. So he travels all the way back to his hometown to California to figure out that his sister was actually in a lot of trouble and she owed people a lot of money and she was really in a mess. So he finds out about her life, even though she got murdered, unfortunately. So he just goes and takes care of everybody who was responsible for her death. I'll give this movie a 10 out of 10. Next movie, The Old Guard. So in this movie, there are ancient warriors that do not get killed. They live on and on and on, and they're super old, but they do fight for what's right. However, there are people trying to hunt them down to use them for bad purposes. So they're just trying to get away from them and try to do the things that are good. So I'll give this movie a 10 out of 10. Last movie, Project Power. This movie is about a small little pill that gives you 5 minutes in your life to be whatever you want to be. If you want to be caught in fire and be indestructible, you can do that all within 5 minutes. So this is a really good, crazy movie. I'd give this movie a 9 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget that I'll be doing a part 2 of this video. So if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and like this video, and let me know what you think about these movies. If you've seen them, and if you haven't seen some of them, try to check them out. However, like I said in the beginning, you really don't have to watch it. These are just movies that I watched and I really enjoyed, and you know, they are in all categories, so you can check out these categories and pick out anyone that you think could be interesting to you. So I hope I did justice. I tried not to say too much about the movie so that you might be interested. Like, you won't just know everything that happened in the movie, so what else is there for you to watch? So that's why I didn't say much about the movies. I was just talking briefly on the movies just to give you a hint on, you know, what the movie is about. All right, so make sure you stay tuned, like this video, hit the notification bell so you know when I drop the next movie recommendations. So I'll see you again in my next video. Bye.